Hey Google, restart video.
Hey everyone, Scott Innes, voice actor, Hollywood actor, movie star. Don't believe all that. I'm a legend in my own mind. Hey, you know me better as the voice of some of the most popular cartoon characters in the world. Scooby Dooby Doo, Scrappy Dappy Doo, Puppy Power, Black and Shaggy too. And you've got the Sullivan Project podcast coming at you right now.
Hey Google, stop. Hey Google, turn your volume to 50%. Hey Google, turn your volume to 50%. What's up, everyone? This is Harold Sullivan, and this is the Sullivan Project podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed that opening there, Scott Ennis, the Scooby Doo, and all that. Hey Google, stop. See, they don't listen, these machines. How many times you got to yell at them to stop? They keep playing stuff. We can't be having extra. But anyways, yeah. So we're going to talk about Firefly. They only had one season of that TV show years ago, and I heard about it. Didn't even really, know much about it, so I didn't get into it. Because my thing with new TV shows is they either go on, forever, and they don't end up, like they were in the beginning, or they cut short. Especially now, you get one season and they cut you right away, and they don't give stuff a chance. There's so many shows. That's why I'm doing ones. I'm going back and doing seasons that shows that were just 1 to 2, 3 seasons. Uh, you know what I mean? But really, unless they're 4 or 5 or more, they're not really worth your time. But checking out the old ones and just seeing what could have been, is cool. So we're going to talk about that. Also, I wanted to give a little update. My one ear is still draining. I have some kind of infection. And so Friday, I called the doctor because I ran out of antibiotic, and he wasn't in till Monday. They said if my ear gets worse, go to the Express Med, whatever the heck that thing is called. And I'm blind and in a power wheelchair. How am I supposed to? I gotta call buses ahead of time, like for transportation for a wheelchair. So I did it. But for more of an update, check us out later on here. When we do Stump the Stringert, I'm gonna call Chris and talk to him. So I just got done with a book about the Godfather, the making of the Godfather, called "Leave the Gun, Take the Cannoli." Never knew what that meant until now. So, and I got the audio version. It's like almost 14, 15 hours. And but you can get the print version too. And I just listened to the actual Godfather book, which is about 18 or so hours. So I haven't never did the movie. I didn't, understand it. I wasn't really into quote unquote gangster movie, mafia, whatever movies in the past or when I was a kid. But I want to check out all the classics. I want to know what people were talking about. And so I do want to get The Godfather, probably all three of them one day, and just listen to them now that I lost my sight 3 years ago uh, due to my autoimmune disease and complications. And I was born with problems and been in a wheelchair since I was young. And if you all want to check out previous episodes, Harold Sullivan 78 on YouTube and TikTok, Harold Sullivan period 35 Facebook. You can contact the show there. You can do, share, follow, like, whatever. I'm just trying to help people. We all got stuff, you know what I mean? And if you got one person, calling you or one person you can talk to, you know what I mean? That's all you need. But everybody needs somebody. And of course you want to be loved and you want to be, all this, everything by everybody. And I believe it should be unconditional love, you know what I mean? I'm working to get there, I believe I feel that, but I still got the human things. The ego's the hardest thing. I'm listening to a course on miracles, or the course. I think it's called A Course on Miracles right now. Uh, it just teaches you about that because we want to be separate, but we're not really. We're all connected, and when we learn to do that, and realize that, then we'll treat each other better. And I think it used to be better, years ago or just centuries ago. But anyway, it's a good book. Uh, and that last part there, take the cannoli, was the improv. And this book, I mean, it goes all the way back to the guys running the studios, how they hired the cast. Coppola wanted that cast, and they fought every way with everything. They fired him a bunch of times. The studio, even they changed the music, like they just cut the movie down. They just want to do so many things, and finally he got his way, and the movie ended up being a masterpiece. And they stopped stuffing Marlon Brando's cheeks. He had to go through like a couple hours worth of makeup every day, and they said he just became that character. He was kind of washed up at the time, and so it was like it brought him back out, and boom. And of course, I remember him from Superman. He played Jor-El, of course. But that was years later, 1978. The Godfather, 1972. And then Pacino, he was literally kept thinking he was going to get fired because it was like one of his first gigs, and he wasn't known, so he was on edge, and so that's why he was acting that so good in the performance. And then they said he even got hurt. He hurt his leg because he jumped off after a car, tried to leap onto a car because nobody told him what he was supposed to do in a particular scene. He walks out of a building and there's a car there, and the car took off. And so it's got all kinds of facts. And then I want to mention I talked about a Michael Jackson book, King of Pop, and one of the last when I did book reviews in the last one of the last podcasts there. And Michael Jackson was in some movies. Of course, The Wiz, where he starred, was really good when he was young. It was like a Wizard of Oz type movie, The Wiz. He was a scarecrow. And then he did a Thriller, which was like a short music video, which John Landis directed. Michael Jackson always wanted to be a werewolf since he saw that and wanted to wear that makeup and got to. He actually wanted to be Jar Jar Binks in this Star Wars movie, but they kind of they wanted to go CGI basically, and they went with a guy who was good at moving his body, but Michael wanted to actually do the part. And then in Men in Black, too, that was actually Michael Jackson, and so was in the couple scary movies where there was a Michael Jackson. I actually thought they were impersonators because, he's impersonated a lot, but no, that was actually him. So I wanted to mention that. I don't think I mentioned that before. Also, I did a podcast about crossovers in movies and TV shows, and I wanted to get more into detail about Scooby Natural, which was Supernatural, and Scooby Doo. And Dean and Sam got sucked into the TV, and they were in there in an old episode of Scooby Doo. And people were getting, there was blood and stuff. I think people were getting killed, and that's how they knew something was up. But Dean was hitting on Daphne, and it was just hilarious. It was like a more adult version of Scooby Doo. I mean, it was kind of twisted, but it was a good episode. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Firefly wife. Second, Scooby Natural Firefly Smart Girl Train Reaper Sword Fight Cattle. Third, Lottery Michael Jackson Icicles Cheese.
This is how I take notes down when I'm blind, and then listen to stuff, podcasts and audio books. And you can even do movies on the Google thing, and I can listen to them. So I did some reviews of Sliders. Where the heck is that? That got to be coming up, or maybe it had to come up yet. Yeah, it has to be. But I did review Sliders season 1, the TV show, which was good. Jerry O'Connell, and at the last episode, it was a lottery when they went to this world. Okay, and that's the name I couldn't think of what the last episode was. But it was a lottery, and then whenever you took money out, the more you took money out of the ATM and stuff, the more of a chance you had to get into a lottery and get picked, right? And then you had a card you would get where you could go buy anything, just do whatever you wanted. But when you got picked for the lottery, spoilers, if you got drawn, you got killed, and that was a way of them controlling the population in on that universe, or that alternate Earth in Sliders, basically. So I wanted to mention that. And then I was thinking about just deep stuff the other day. I've always been this way since I was a kid. Icicles, like how does that work, icicles? Because it's not one drop that freezes instantly. So how does it just hang there and freeze slowly, and then another drop goes down and freezes? That's just amazing. I like to had seen a time lapse video of that, how that happens, because people do a lot of that. They started doing that like 10, 15 years ago. You know what I mean? The time lapse But how icicles are made. Just think about it or watch it and check it out. I can't now because I'm blind. Maybe one day though. And then in old cartoons, I want to mention the cheese was always yellow and with holes, and I always thought it was Swiss cheese, but they made it yellow because you would think it was cake or something else, right? Because how would you know it was cheese? Uh, but I never knew any other cheese that had holes. And then my sister says, "Well, that cheese was just had holes because the mice were eating out of it." But to me, the holes looked perfectly round, like they didn't look like they made them drawn because to look like they were bitten out of. So maybe that's two different points of view. Though. What do y'all think about that? Because I just always thought of one. Even overthinking as a kid. Why is that cheese, but it don't look right? It's a different color, but why is there holes? And she says, well, the holes were just because the cheese was already nibbling, or the mouse was nibbling on the cheese. So I don't know. That's odd, but hopefully y'all get a kick out of that. Just think about them things. It's weird. But yeah, so we're gonna go into Firefly. I'm gonna do. There's 14 episodes in this whole freaking just one season they only had, and then Serenity they did a movie like a couple years later. So I'm gonna listen to that too. I never got to see it, but I've gone through about half or so of the season. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit right now before we go here. And this is cool because it's kind of like a. I thought in the beginning it was gonna be like just a regular space or Star Trek or Star Wars, but it's different. It's like an old west in space. They do have guns and lasers though. There's different things like because this war happened and the Earth people left Earth and went and found other planets and solar systems and made them Earths. Like they colonized them and made the air air and all that, did the air and stuff and so there's basically people on ships like scavengers that go around stealing stuff and end up saving people and doing whatever they could, kind of like Han Solo. So Nathan Fillion is in there, Rosario Dawson. I mean, it's got an all-star cast. The girl from Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I just reviewed that recently. It was only 2 seasons of that. Is in there. And then I noticed a couple other voices. I'm getting good with voices now. The dude, of course, my buddy who did Happy Birthday to my nephew, Steven, uh, who played Crawley on Supernatural. He had a couple episodes already, and I was like, okay, when you hear his voice, you just know because of his accent. He slipped my mind out. It's some Shepard. Yep, Mark Shepard. And he plays a bad guy, like a villain, of course. So that's in the first episode. Hey, Google, what did I want you to remember? Or first 2 episodes.
I don't know.
Hey, Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Firefly wife. Second, Scooby Natural Firefly Smart Girl Train Reaper Sword Fight Cattle.
Hey, Google, stop. Okay, so there's a train too because sometimes there's trains and stuff. There's horses on cattle on different. It's neat how they have all this stuff mixed together, all different worlds that they go to. And they've started this whole thing, you know what I mean? Nathan Fillion's kind of like a Captain Kirk that's kind of sassy. They get in bar fights and stuff. But there's a train that they go rob to get this stuff that somebody pays them for. And then, hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Firefly wife. Second, Scooby Natural Firefly Smart Girl Train Reaper Sword Fight Cattle. Third, Lottery Michael Jackson Icicles Cheese. And
then there's something called a Reaper, or Reapers, which are basically like cannibals that eat people. They're just not civilized. And but anyway, they get on this ship and it's all empty and there's nothing there because they want to steal stuff. On this ship called Serenity. It's a Firefly class ship, so the show is called Firefly, but the movie's called Serenity. And so yeah, nothing's on there. And they find somebody alive, and anyway, there's a Reaper involved, and these things you don't want to mess with because they just kill you and they don't care. And then there's a sword fight one where he gets into a fight and he gets challenged to a duel, and it ends up being a sword. The captain. His name was Malcolm. Forget his last name or first name. It's Malcolm something. He's funny though. I didn't really, you know what I mean. He's cocky though. He jokes about stuff, and it's kind of like it could be for kids, but it's kind of for adults, and it has some dirty stuff, but not really dirty. I mean, it's different, you know. Like that, they could have had their whole thing, and it's Josh Whedon, I believe, wrote and directed, or at least wrote. And of course, he did the Avengers, and he did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and so many things, and he's good with the characters. So it's good. The whole episode sets you up, and then you don't get disappointed. I mean, by the end, you're done with the story, but then it continues on, and then they bring other characters, back and forth in the episodes, and it's like his whole world he's setting up. You know what I mean? So sword fight. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Firefly wife. Second, Scooby natural Firefly smart girl train Reaper sword fight cattle. Third,
Hey Google,
lottery
stop.
Michael.
And then there's some cattle that they actually go try to steal. I guess they put them on the ship so they can sell them to people because they're very valuable. They're meat and this and that, on one of the planet, in the future, or well, I don't know if it's in the future, but in this world, stuff like that. That's what I mean. They kind of go back in the old times, but then they have futuristic stuff. But then they're in space. So anyway, they involve some cattle that they go and this and that. And then the last episode that I've done so far, it's probably about halfway through, and then I'm going to check out the rest, and then the movie as well, and do a review of the whole Serenity Firefly deal. But the captain dude ends up getting married, and he's got these girls all over him and this and that, because he did something when he got drunk, a ceremony. It's funny, kind of. It's just dry. It's just odd. Like it's just you have to check it out. Uh, and then she ends. Of course, things are not as good as they seem to be. That's all I'm going to say about that. But everybody teases him about how he got married, and she just wants to be part of the crew. You know. Oh, the smart girl. That's why the first episode. I didn't even. But it's two parts, I think. So it might be two episodes. I don't know. But yeah, they pick up a girl and a guy on the planet, and that's the girl who was a Terminator. Sarah Connor Chronicles. She played Cameron, the robot. So, but something had to happen to her, like the rebellion or the whatever the lead organization had did experiments on her or something, and so they're kind of wanted, and then they're aboard the ship, and these scavengers now got them, and they got a crew with a doc. They got a doctor. They got the captain that I've been talking about, and there's a preacher, and a couple other a companion, which is called a prostitute in this universe. Hold your ears on that one because they do it and they get paid, and it's I don't know if it's legal or not, but I guess who's going to do anything about it, right? Because the big guys don't. They only come around for big things. I forget what it's called, a rebellion or it's something like that. So they use some words from like Star Wars and Star Trek, but then they have their own stuff. So they make like this whole thing out of all the different movies from the genre. So we'll be back here soon with Chris. Love y'all. Oops. Darn recorder must have not been charged all the way in. Of course, since I'm blind, I couldn't see it. But that's okay. You know what I mean? We're here now. So the Steelers are 2-0 now, right?
3-0.
Oh, it's 3-0. Oh, yeah, that's right. 3-0. Jesus. It's been a while since they. The most I ever think I remember was maybe 4-0 before they. I don't remember them ever being 5-0. It's been a long time, right? Since they've been that. But last season I predicted 8 to 10 wins, and well, we got 9. I was pretty good on that before the season even started. So this year I'm predicting about the same thing, 8 to 10 wins. What do you think? You think they're going to get more than last year, or less,
It's hard to say. Probably
or about the same?
about the same.
That's what I'm predicting too, because they did way better last year than I even thought. You know what I mean? But and then the Penguins preseason game tonight. What's the second? Is this the second, third one?
Second.
Okay. So we're gonna check that out here after we get done with the podcast, y'all. And so the other day I asked you a couple of questions. Do you remember what any of them were?
One was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Because
We went through that.
I remember 4 of them. All right, you already know the answer, so I'm just going to tell the listeners real quick, so that they don't miss the whole questions. You know what I'm saying? So what we did Friday the 13th, how many kills was in the first one, and I believe it was 13.
Yeah, it was 13.
And you said 12, so there was a little off on that. The obvious guess would have been 13, though, right? But they did that on purpose. And then we had who directed Poltergeist, right?
Toby Hooper.
Toby
Yeah.
Hooper. And then for extra credit, what else did he do? And of course, he said Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre.
Everybody remembers that.
Yeah, that was his first. I mean, one of his first, probably his first. And then we did Johnny Depp, what he was watching on TV when he died in Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street, right? And you said Miss America or something. Was that what it was?
Yeah. National Anthem, wasn't it?
The national anthem was on it, but it was before that. It was MTV. So we were both right on that because I said MTV, but I didn't go all the way with the scene till the very end before he got sucked in. And then I remember another one was what was the original name for Elm Street, which was Bad Dreams, right? Nightmare on Elm Street was called Bad Dreams. And then a movie came out like original around that time or a year later actually called Bad Dreams, which was scary.
Yeah, I like that movie. I like the soundtrack to it.
Oh yeah, I never. Back then I didn't pay attention to that, but I'll try to. Maybe I can find it on YouTube. And then the original Scream title was Scary Movie. And there was one other question I couldn't remember the fifth one, right? I can't remember. I tried all day. I was like, well, we got the 4 and 5 out of 5. But I think you answered like 3 or 4 out of 5 again, which is pretty good. You keep doing 3 or 4 at least. A couple times you had 5 out of 5. So, but and my ear's still messed up, right? Let me tell you just one more thing here. So I told you Friday I called in and asked the doctor to get more antibiotics for my ears because they said let them know after I took it for. They wanted me to do 7 days, but they gave me 10 days worth on the 2 bottles, right? 5 days in each bottle doesn't make sense. So anyway, my ear was one is okay, the other one was still draining a little, and so I called them to say, can you call me in a little bit more, just for a couple more days, and it should be fine. So they said he's out of the office till Monday. So what is today? Today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I didn't get no call back. I called 2 or 3 times. Today, I finally called a couple times. I got called a couple times. I got a call back. Now, yesterday I went to the foot doctor. Remember I told you I was going to go? My toe's been hurting for a long time, like a couple of weeks. She said I got a spider bite on my toe. Or some kind of bite. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, I'll call you in an antibiotic for that, which I think is the same stuff that they were giving me for the ear, which is, hey, that should help, right? So, oh my God, I'm like, my foot hurts and swelled up. And, you know what I mean? What the hell could I do here? And it itches too, you know what I mean? I don't know if you ever had a bite. So she's like, I'll call you in an antibiotic. So today I called, and that one's there, right? But the other one wasn't still from the regular doctor. So they called back and said, he doesn't want to give you any more medication. He wants you to go see an ear, nose, and throat doctor now because it must be viral, whatever that means. I thought that's what they were giving me medicine for because it was a virus. You know what I mean? This is stupid. So you know what? You know what that's called? It's called medical kickback. I actually researched it. Every time they write a script or they refer you, they get paid. And I kind of had that feeling, but I didn't know for sure. You know what I mean? So that means every time they write a script or tell you to go to another doctor, they get money. They get more money probably doing that than they freaking do getting paid as a doctor. Like Michael Jordan making $100 million with Nike, which was way more than he made playing in the NBA the first 5 years. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I can understand that.
the first thing the doctor said yesterday when I went about my toe was, I can give you a pill. She's never suggested me. I had that damn. Remember I told you I had that gangrene and the PCP told me it was gout in my toe on my other foot a few years ago. She didn't even call me in anything for that, and I was in pain. I had to drink vodka all day, every day, because that was the only thing that would take that pain away. And now, as soon as I go in there, she's calling. I say I can call you. That's just so she gets paid. I don't like that. You know what I mean? Now I've got to go see an ear, nose, and throat doctor, which I don't really want to do. But if I don't want to lose my hearing, I have to at least go see what they say, right? But I still need to take this antibiotic because I think if I just do it a few more days, the other ear will quit. You know what I mean? Drain. It's just a little bit. But my sister forgot to stop and pick it up today, so now I gotta wait till tomorrow. Hopefully she'll go tomorrow. I mean, I ran out of medicine like 4 or 5 days ago, and my ears are probably getting worse again. You know, it's not good. I don't get it. But it's called medical kickback. When people don't really believe that, it sounds like a conspiracy. It's actually real. So they don't want you to get better, dude. You know what I mean? Can you believe that? Anyway, let's do Stump the Stringer here, and we love everybody. Thanks for listening here. The first question: what color is the door on the Elm Street house? 1428. Do you know? You remember? The original, like Nancy's house.
Red.
Red, of course. Yep. It was different.
Excuse me, red.
It was. I remember that because in Freddy versus Jason, there was a cut scene. I mean, Freddy versus Jason, where Laurie, because the door was a different color, but Laurie like scratched the door and found the original color. They took that scene out. I don't even think it's on the DVD. Hey, Ziggy, what are my stickies?
I found 5
I
notes.
gotta remember all these.
First note, dentist collection. Second note, Friday the 13th poltergeist on TV original names.
Yeah, we did
Third
those.
note, medical kit bags. And fourth note,
Alright.
waterbed Evil Dead makeup Friday music. Would you like to hear the last one?
Okay. Hey, Ziggy, stop. All right, you know the composer for Friday the 13th? That did the music and all that? Came up with the Jason?
Victor Miller.
No, the composer, not the writer. The music, the guy made the music. Soundtrack. You'll know, you'll know it if I say it. It started with an H. He probably has the same first name as I do, but they call him, they call him by a different name. Harry?
Manfredini.
Yep, there you go. I actually had the greatest hits. I don't know if you have it. There's one of the CDs I had. It was hard to get though. I think it came from overseas. It was like Friday the 13th, and it had greatest hits, and it had from part 1 through like 8, all the like soundtrack and all the music and the 3D part 3D main theme, you know, and some of the clips with Mrs. Voorhees, just from the movie on like voice clips on it. It was cool. It's called like the best of Friday the 13th. Okay, so you got that. What about in the waterbed? Okay, in part 3 with Dream Warriors or Nightmare on Elm Street, Joey sees this girl on the bed, right?
Yeah, Hope Marie Carlton. Yeah.
Is that what her name was?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't even see. I wouldn't even have never known that. And what happens? She turns into Freddy and comes out of the bed. And what'd she say?
How's this for a wet dream?
It was stupid when dude said it, and when Jackie Earle Haley said it. What didn't he say it when that girl was stepping in the steps instead? They were like marshmallow. It was a different time he said it. How's this for a wet dream? I didn't like that. Ziggy, what are my stickies? We got 2 more,
Okay.
right? Ziggy, what are my stickies?
I found 5 notes.
Yeah,
First note, dentist collection.
I'll
Second
delete them when
note,
we get done.
Friday the 13th poltergeist on TV
Yeah, my
original
dentist-
names.
Yeah.
Third note, medical kit bags. And fourth note, waterbed Evil Dead makeup Friday music. Would you like to hear the last one?
Yes.
Fifth note, door color Halloween day.
Okay. The original Halloween, 1978. Michael Myers escaped from the asylum. What was the date when he was a little boy that he committed the murder, or the murderers? No, it was, how many murders was it? Just a sister, right?
And sister in 63.
Yeah, 63, that's right. That's the date I was looking for. Okay, and then can you name any, or I think there was 3 makeup artists on the original Evil Dead that worked with Raimi, Sam Raimi, Ted Raimi, and Bruce Campbell. They were all buddies, all these guys were. You remember any of the makeup? I don't think you've ever mentioned their names before, but I met
I don't think so.
I met 2 of them, actually.
That's a stumper there.
I met 2 of them. I remember telling you the names. You'll remember after I tell you. But I met 2 of them. Here's a clue. A couple of them are working on The Walking Dead the last, how many years that's been on?
Greg Nicotero.
Yep.
Howard Berger.
Berger and Nicotero, K&B Effects, right? That was their studio.
Yeah.
Okay, so those
Country.
are,
Yeah.
yep, those are 2 of them. And then Tom Sullivan, remember that name? Sound familiar? Tom Sullivan worked. So those 3 guys were all buddies with the other guys there, Bruce Campbell, Sam, and Ted Raimi. And they all worked on the original Evil Dead. Tom Sullivan's the one that came up with the look for the Necronomicon and the pages in it. Because when I met him at a cinema wasteland or one of them conventions in like 20-something, 2012, 2013, he had it in a glass case. One of the original props and some of the pages, like from the part 2 when they threw them in the basement, the pages to get rid of them. And I was like, man, that is so cool. Just looking at the freaking actual thing, you know what I mean? And a lot of that stuff got lost because the original cabin got burnt down. I don't know if you knew that. when they made the first Evil Dead, that was a real cabin. They had to reconstruct it over the original one and the second one. So that was just like a prop. With just not, there was no like inside and stuff. The second one, and they had a different. It was weird, but something happened. Years ago, I saw online there was somebody trying to sell the pieces of it on eBay on auction, like pieces of the burnt wood from Evil Dead burnt down cabin. It was like $15 for a little piece of it. I was like, are you kidding me? I did go out and buy some Camp Crystal Lake water, but I sold it in one of my collections a couple of years ago. This lady, or this, I don't know if it was a lady, but she was selling in a perfume bottle. It was supposed to be water from the lake, where they filmed the original Friday the 13th, Lake Obi Bosco, or Camp Obi Bosco, whatever lake that was called.
Yeah,
She was
I
just,
remember that.
yeah, because you could go on tours now, but you got to pay. And I guess she just scooped up some water, and she's selling them for $15 a bottle on eBay for the water from the lake. It's like, are you kidding me what they would do? But if you're a fan, you know what I mean? I bought it, and then I ended up selling it. And it came in this little bag that looked like a bloody sock kind. It was weird. But yeah, they were selling cabin from pieces of the Evil Dead burnt down cabin. From the first one. So, but yeah, we're gonna go check out the Penguin game, right? We had some of the best players ever. Of course, Mario Lemieux back in the day, Jaromir Jagr, Joey Mullen. I'd say he's one of the best, if not the best American-born player, right? Brasso, he was one of the best goalies. He wasn't a goalie that would get you shutouts, but he got the saves, and the Penguins didn't need that. You know what I mean? They scored a lot of goals, so hey, it was only if he won 6-5, 6-4. You know what I mean? that was it. He got a lot of points too. He probably had some of the most assists ever for a goalie, right?
Yeah, it was a good stick handling goal.
Because he used to come out and just pass that puck all the way up the ice. He was one of the first ones to ever do that. He would come down behind the net and stop it, right, whenever the people would dump it in. He was the first one to do all that. So, but we're going to check that out. We'll be back soon, right? Same bat time, same bat channel. And everyone has a story. You can't judge a book by its cover. So next time you see someone, think about how you react or, smile at them. Don't just, you know what I mean, be in your own snip because we all got stuff and you might brighten someone's day, And love is a choice and so is the hate, right? You want to say bye, Chris?
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Oh, man.